knew about the power of words and language that we use. And so I implemented that. This is 2.5, nearly 3 years ago now that I learned about this. So I implemented it in my own life. And so now it's very, very rare or seldom that you'll ever hear me use negative self-talk about myself. And it's not because I'm delusional. It's because I just choose to reframe the language. The beauty of it is, Matt, is that once you do it for like a month, it becomes a habit. And then here's the real power of it that I noticed. You start noticing how all these other people around you are talking.
And as someone whose first book is coming out in March, I'm curious, when you did the reading for your book, because I've heard that's a very arduous and challenging process. Don't do it. But I'm resilient as heck. I want to do it in my own voice. I'm curious what that experience was like for you, for reading your own book.
First things first, if you don't read your book, you will lose credibility in my eyes. All right? I know that's a manipulative technique, but I'm going to encourage you to read it, because only you can read it and do it justice in the way that you wrote it, right? And congrats on the book, by the way. I'm very, very happy for you. Big moment in your life. The context of how I recorded the book, when I was in Germany at the book fair, I was on a phone call with a friend of mine, Alan Thompson, in Australia, and I just happened to ask him, hey, do you happen to know anyone or any studios in Germany? And he yells out on that phone call to a friend who's staying with him, says, hey, do you know any recording studios in Germany? And this lady goes, yeah, you need to connect with Eric and Beverly Wittenberg in Charlottenburg in Berlin. Eric Wittenberg is the number one vocal talent in Germany. Like when Elton John did his autobiography, Eric did it in German. He was the voice. And he had a studio in his home. And we recorded it over 3 and a bit days, kind of like 4-hour days, 5-hour days. And it was one of the most cool experiences ever. So it's been professionally put together by one of the best in the business. And I really, really, up to you, but I really would encourage you to put it in your own voice as well.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, I'm going to do it either way. And I'm so glad to hear. One of the cool things that I'm realizing about you is that as you're speaking, I'm not hearing any blaming or any complaining. All I'm hearing is gratitude and living in the moment and being present for the experience. And I'm fascinated that you're able to live that way and you've not been a big meditator, right? You've not had that type of practice. I think you did practice that on the run when you were running, but not having a meditation practice. It's just so amazing to see someone who's so present. That's pretty cool. How'd you get that
that's really nice feedback.
Yeah. Yeah.
I read a book called The Go-Giver, which you've probably heard of.
Yeah.
John David Mann and Bob Berg, right? And both of whom have been guests on the show. And that kind of kicked off this whole, what value can I add to these people's lives? And then I eventually had Jack Canfield on the podcast. And he was telling a story about having a swear jar at home, but instead of putting money in for profanity, he put money in for negative self-talk. And I'd kind of been exploring some of this stuff for a while because I knew about the power of words and language that we use. And so I implemented that. This is 2.5, nearly 3 years ago now that I learned about this. So I implemented it in my own life. And so now it's very, very rare or seldom that you'll ever hear me use negative self-talk about myself. And it's not because I'm delusional. It's because I just choose to reframe the language. The beauty of it is, Matt, is that once you do it for like a month, it becomes a habit. And then here's the real power of it that I noticed. You start noticing how all these other people around you are talking. And you can make a decision. And I've gotten very ruthless at setting boundaries in my life. I refuse to be around people that continually speak about that to themselves. So then I start to magnetize and attract through quantum magic people that resonate with that language. And so I'm attracting more and more high caliber people into my life. And we all know the benefit of that,
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I'm so glad I talked to you today, Laban. This has been a real gift. I'd like to start to move to our wrap-up section, the lightning round. Ding, ding, ding. You made it so far. So, dear listeners, this has been a treasure trove of great wisdom today. Let's wrap it up with a couple more things. Laban, you have your own book.
Before you do that, Matt, I hope you don't mind me interrupting. If you're
Please.
listening to this, if it's the first time you've ever listened to this, or you're a regular listener of the show, watcher of the show, Matt is doing incredible work. You can't possibly imagine the amount of work that goes into creating something which largely doesn't generate money directly for a very long time. Go out of your way if you continue to support what Matt's doing, and review and rate and share this with people that you care about, because the man is doing God's work. That's my 2 cents.